Hey guys, tonight we're diving deep into the mesmerizing world of ancient beauty standards, where looking good could literally mean the difference between divine favor and social exile. Picture yourself standing in the shadow of the Great Pyramid, watching as Egyptian nobles prepare for their daily transformation rituals. The air shimmers with heat and the scent of frankincense, while servants grind precious minerals into cosmetic powders that cost more than most people's yearly wages. You're about to discover that ancient beauty routines make your current skincare regimen look like child's play. And honestly, you probably won't survive the lead poisoning that was considered essential for that perfect complexion. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Drop a comment letting me know where you're listening from and what time it is there. I love seeing our global community come together for these historical journeys. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You find yourself in the private chambers of an Egyptian noblewoman, circa 1500 BCE. The room gleams with polished copper mirrors and alabaster jars filled with mysterious concoctions. Your hostess sits before you, completely bald because apparently nothing says I'm wealthy enough to afford elaborate wigs, like shaving off all your natural hair. She's applying kohl around her eyes with the precision of a surgeon, creating those dramatic, elongated lines that would make even today's makeup artists weep with envy. The kohl isn't just for show, though. Made from ground galena and other minerals, it actually serves as protection against the harsh desert sun and helps prevent eye infections. Your Egyptian beauty knows that the gods themselves were this divine makeup, after all. Doesn't the falcon god Horus sport the most magnificent eye makeup in all the ancient world? She extends the lines beyond her natural eye shape, creating an almost supernatural appearance that's meant to invoke the protection of the gods. But here's where things get interesting and slightly terrifying. That gorgeous green eyeshadow she's applying, it's made from malachite, a copper-based mineral that's actually toxic in large quantities. The Egyptians didn't care. They were convinced that green represented rebirth and fertility, and looking like the goddess Hathor was worth a little poisoning. Historians still argue whether ancient Egyptians understood the health risks of their cosmetics or simply considered beauty worth dying for literally. Your hostess now turns to her skin, rubbing it with a mixture of animal fat and ground gold. Yes, actual gold. The Egyptians believed that gold was the flesh of the gods, particularly Ra, the sun god. Covering yourself in gold dust wasn't just about looking wealthy, it was about embodying divinity. She pays special attention to her arms and face, creating a luminous glow that catches the lamplight like tiny stars scattered across her skin. The hair situation is equally elaborate. She selects from an array of wigs made from human hair, sheep's wool, and even vegetable fibers. Each wig is styled differently for various occasions: shorter, simpler styles for daily wear, and increasingly elaborate creations for religious ceremonies and social events. Some wigs are so heavy they require special neck supports, but comfort is clearly not the priority here. She chooses a shoulder-length bob-style wig for today, perfectly straight and black as the Nile at night. Now comes the truly wild part, the nail polish. Your Egyptian beauty produces a container of henna and begins painting her nails a deep red-orange. But this isn't just vanity, it's a status symbol. The deeper the color, the higher the social rank. Cleopatra herself reportedly wore deep red nails, while lower-class women were restricted to pale colors. Breaking this color code could result in serious social consequences, because apparently, even in ancient times, people took their manicures very seriously. The perfume ritual is equally important. She dabs various scented oils behind her ears, on her wrists, and even on her clothing. These aren't just pleasant fragrances, they're carefully crafted blends designed to invoke specific qualities. Rose oil for love, jasmine for purity, and frankincense for spiritual connection. Each scent tells a story about who she is and what she values. Some of these perfumes are so expensive that they're literally worth their weight in gold, stored in precious containers that serve as both functional items and status symbols. Your Egyptian hostess completes her look with jewelry that's both decorative and protective. Gold amulets shaped like scarabs, ankhs, and eyes of Horus aren't just accessories, they're spiritual armor. The Egyptians believed that certain metals and gems could ward off evil spirits and attract good fortune. That elaborate collar necklace isn't just stunning, it's a magical shield that keeps malevolent forces at bay while announcing her wealth and social position to everyone she encounters. You step from the golden sands of Egypt into the marble-columned world of ancient Greece, where beauty has become a mathematical equation. Around you, Greek scholars are literally measuring faces with calipers, convinced that perfect proportions can be calculated with the same precision used to design the Parthenon. The concept of golden ratio isn't just architectural theory here, it's the foundation of human attractiveness. And you're about to witness a civilization that treats beauty like a science experiment. The gymnasium before you buzzes with activity as Greek citizens pursue their daily fitness routines. But this isn't just about health, it's about achieving the ideal form that Greek culture has codified into specific measurements. The men around you are striving for what they call kalligathia, a concept that combines physical beauty with moral goodness. According to Greek philosophy, if you look good, you must be good, which puts enormous pressure on everyone to maintain their appearance or risk being considered morally deficient. You watch as a Greek athlete measures his torso against the canon of proportions developed by the sculptor Polykleitos. His head should be exactly 1/8 of his total height, his face divided into 3 equal parts, and his body proportioned according to mathematical ratios that supposedly reflect divine perfection. This isn't vanity, it's pursuing an ideal that connects human form to cosmic harmony. The Greeks genuinely believe that mathematical beauty reflects the underlying order of the universe. The women's beauty standards are equally precise, though more restricted in their public expression. You observe Greek women in the women's quarters, where they're creating elaborate hairstyles that require geometric precision. Their hair is twisted, braided, and pinned into complex patterns that would challenge modern stylists. The ideal Greek woman has a high forehead, small mouth, and straight nose, preferably with a little bump at the bridge that connects her nose to her forehead in one continuous line. But here's where Greek beauty gets delightfully weird. They're obsessed with unibrows. That's right. While modern people spend fortunes removing the hair between their eyebrows, Greek women are darkening the space between theirs with kohl, or even gluing on fake hair to create one continuous brow. They believe this creates a more noble, intellectual appearance. Some wealthy women even have slaves whose sole job is maintaining their mistress's unibrow to the perfect thickness and darkness. The Greeks also have strong opinions about skin tone, but not in the way you might expect. For men, a golden tan is desirable because it indicates time spent in the gymnasium and agora, the marks of a citizen who participates in public life. For women, however, pale skin is preferred because it suggests they're wealthy enough to stay indoors, away from manual labor. This creates a fascinating double standard where men and women are literally pursuing opposite skin tones to achieve the same goal of appearing high status. You notice Greek women applying a face mask made from white lead, which gives them that coveted pale complexion. They're also using crushed berries for lip color and lampblack for eye makeup. But the most fascinating part is their use of fake beauty marks, small patches of fabric or paint, applied to the face to create what they consider perfect symmetry. Historians still argue whether these beauty marks were meant to cover actual blemishes or were purely decorative additions to enhance facial geometry. The Greek approach to body hair is equally mathematical. Men carefully trim their beards to specific lengths and shapes, often following the examples set by famous philosophers or military leaders. Body hair is groomed with the same precision as topiary gardens, with specific patterns and lengths that communicate social status and personal philosophy. Some Greeks even dye their body hair different colors to achieve what they consider perfect contrast against their skin tone. Greek perfume is more subtle than Egyptian fragrances, focused on enhancing natural scent rather than masking it. They prefer lighter, more ethereal fragrances that complement rather than overwhelm their carefully calculated proportions. The most popular scents are derived from local flowers and herbs, rose, violet, and myrtle, mixed with olive oil bases that also nourish the skin. You watch a Greek symposium where men recline on couches, their bodies arranged in poses that showcase their adherence to ideal proportions. Even their casual positioning is choreographed to display their physical perfection. The Greeks have turned beauty into performance art, where every gesture and pose is calculated to demonstrate their embodiment of mathematical ideals. You march from the intellectual pursuits of Greek beauty into the opulent excess of Roman vanity, where cosmetics have become so elaborate that wealthy Romans employ entire teams of slaves just to get ready each morning. The Roman bath house around you steams with luxury and danger in equal measure, as citizens pursue beauty standards that would horrify modern toxicologists. Here, looking good requires risking your life with cosmetics that contain more poison than a medieval assassination plot. Your Roman matron sits before an ornate bronze mirror, surrounded by enough beauty products to stock a modern department store. But unlike today's carefully regulated cosmetics, these containers hold substances that would send the FDA into cardiac arrest. That beautiful white face powder, it's made from lead, the same lead that's slowly driving the Roman aristocracy insane. The irony isn't lost on you that the pursuit of beauty is literally causing brain damage among the empire's elite. The Roman beauty routine begins with a full-body skin treatment using a mixture of crocodile dung and mud. Yes, you read that correctly. Roman women genuinely believe that crocodile excrement has anti-aging properties, and they're willing to pay enormous sums to import this exotic skincare ingredient from Egypt. The process involves smearing the mixture all over their body, letting it dry, then scraping it off with special bronze tools. The smell alone would clear a modern spa, but Romans consider this the height of luxury. Hair fashion in Rome has reached levels of complexity that would make modern stylists weep. You watch as a team of slave hairdressers, called ornatrices, construct an elaborate hairstyle that requires hours to complete. The fashion right now is for towering hairstyles that add several inches to a woman's height, created using a combination of their own hairpieces, and even wire frameworks. Some of these hairstyles are so tall that wealthy women have to duck through doorways and travel in specially modified litters. But the real Roman beauty obsession is with hair color. Blonde hair is incredibly fashionable, inspired by captive Germanic women who were considered exotic beauties. Roman women are literally dyeing their hair with a mixture of animal fat and ashes, or wearing wigs made from the hair of captured barbarian women. The irony of an empire that considers itself superior to barbarians, while desperately trying to copy their appearance, is apparently lost on them. The Roman approach to makeup is more is more. Your matron applies a thick layer of white lead paint to her face, then adds bright red rouge made from red ochre and wine dregs. Her eyebrows are darkened with antimony, and her eyelashes are enhanced with soot. The final touch is bright red lipstick made from cinnabar, a mercury-based mineral that's slowly poisoning her while giving her that perfect red pout. Historians still argue whether Romans understood the health risks of their cosmetics, or simply considered beauty worth dying for. Roman men aren't exempt from beauty extremes either. You observe Roman gentlemen plucking their body hair with tweezers, bleaching their teeth with urine. Yes, really. And even having cosmetic surgery to remove scars and blemishes. Some Roman men wear makeup and jewelry that would rival their female counterparts. The Emperor Caligula reportedly spent more on cosmetics than most governors spent on their entire provinces. The Roman perfume industry is so sophisticated that they have different fragrances for different parts of the body. You watch as your matron applies one scent to her hair, another to her face, and yet another to her clothing. Roman perfumers create incredibly complex fragrances that can contain dozens of different ingredients, from exotic spices to animal secretions. The most expensive perfumes are literally worth more than houses, stored in precious containers made from gold and gemstones. Roman dental care is equally extreme. They use ground oyster shells to whiten their teeth, rinse with urine for its ammonia content, and even have gold dental work installed purely for cosmetic purposes. Some wealthy Romans have their teeth filed into points or decorated with precious stones. The pursuit of perfect teeth leads to some truly bizarre practices, including using the urine of Spanish women, which is supposedly superior to local varieties. You notice the Roman obsession with removing body hair extends to elaborate procedures that would terrify modern spa-goers. They use pitch-covered strips to remove hair, apply caustic chemicals that burn hair off, and even use primitive laser-like devices that focus sunlight through crystals to burn away unwanted hair. The pain is apparently worth it for the smooth, hairless ideal that Roman culture demands, especially among the upper classes. You step from Roman excess into the delicate, painful world of Chinese beauty standards, where the pursuit of perfection has taken a literally crippling turn. The silk-draped chambers around you whisper with the soft rustling of tiny shoes, and the muffled sounds of women walking on feet that have been deliberately broken and reshaped. You're about to witness one of history's most extreme beauty practices, foot binding, where love and pain intertwine in ways that would make even the most dedicated modern fashionista reconsider their commitment to uncomfortable shoes. Your Chinese hostess sits before you, her feet hidden beneath elaborately embroidered silk slippers, no larger than your palm. These aren't just small feet, they're feet that have been systematically broken, folded, and bound from childhood to achieve the ideal lotus feet that Chinese culture has deemed the ultimate symbol of feminine beauty and refinement. The process began when she was just 5 or 6 years old, with her mother wrapping her feet so tightly that her toes gradually broke and folded under, creating a foot only 3 to 4 inches long. The philosophy behind foot binding goes beyond simple aesthetics. In Chinese culture, these tiny feet represent refinement, discipline, and family status. A woman with bound feet clearly comes from a family wealthy enough that she doesn't need to work in the fields. Her delicate, swaying walk, necessitated by her altered feet, is considered incredibly seductive and elegant. The smaller the feet, the more desirable the woman, with golden lotus feet 3 inches being the ultimate achievement, while silver lotus feet 4 inches are acceptable but less prestigious. But here's where Chinese beauty gets truly complex. The binding process creates a very specific foot shape that's considered erotic in ways that would puzzle modern observers. The arch is dramatically heightened, creating a cleft that's considered sexually appealing. The toes are folded under and bound tightly against the sole, while the heel and toe are drawn together to create the lotus shape. The resulting foot requires specially designed shoes that are as much works of art as functional footwear. You watch as your hostess demonstrates the elaborate ritual of unwrapping, cleaning, and rebinding her feet. The process takes over an hour and reveals feet that are simultaneously beautiful and horrifying. The skin is soft and pale from being constantly covered, but the bones are clearly deformed and the nails have grown into unusual shapes. She performs this ritual with the same reverence that others might reserve for religious ceremonies, because in many ways it is a form of worship of an ideal that has been passed down through generations. The shoes themselves are masterpieces of miniature artistry. Each pair is hand embroidered with silk threads, decorated with tiny pearls, and designed to showcase the impossibly small foot within. Some shoes are so delicate they're essentially wearable sculptures, created by artisans who specialize in this unique craft. The most expensive shoes are family heirlooms, passed down through generations, and considered more valuable than jewelry. Chinese beauty standards extend far beyond feet, though. You observe the elaborate hair ornaments that complement the bound feet, jade combs, silk flowers, and golden pins that create hairstyles of incredible complexity. The ideal Chinese woman has hair so long she can sit on it, styled in elaborate buns and braids that require hours to create and maintain. Some hairstyles are so intricate they're only taken down once a week, with women sleeping on special wooden pillows designed to preserve their elaborate coiffures. The Chinese fascination with jade extends to beauty practices as well. Your hostess shows you jade rollers used for facial massage, jade powder mixed into face masks, and even jade jewelry worn specifically for its supposed beautifying properties. The Chinese believe that jade has mystical properties that can enhance beauty from within, and wealthy women wear jade accessories constantly, believing that the stone becomes more beautiful as it absorbs their life energy. Historians still argue whether foot binding was originally a form of social control or genuinely aesthetic preference. But by the time you're observing it, the practice has become so deeply embedded in Chinese culture that mothers bind their daughters' feet despite knowing the pain involved. The process is seen as essential preparation for marriage, as men have been conditioned to find bound feet irresistibly attractive. The Chinese approach to skincare involves ingredients that would surprise modern beauty enthusiasts. Ground pearls are mixed into face masks for their supposed luminosity-enhancing properties, while bird's nest soup is consumed not just as a delicacy, but as a beauty treatment that's believed to preserve youthful skin. Some Chinese women even ingest small amounts of ground jade, believing it will make their skin more radiant and their complexion more luminous. You notice that Chinese beauty ideals emphasize contrast and delicacy. Women paint their lips in tiny, precise shapes that are much smaller than their natural lip line, creating a delicate rosebud effect. Eyebrows are plucked to create thin, graceful arches, and face powder is applied to create a porcelain-like complexion that emphasizes the delicate features that Chinese culture values above all else. You emerge from the silk-draped chambers of China into the jade-adorned world of the ancient Maya, where beauty standards require permanent body modifications that would make modern extreme body mod enthusiasts look conservative. The limestone temples around you echo with the sounds of ritual ceremonies, while the air fills with copal incense and the careful tapping of jade artists crafting beauty accessories that cost more than most people's houses. You're about to discover that Mayan beauty ideals literally reshaped the human form from birth to death. Your Mayan hostess approaches with a smile that immediately catches your attention. Her teeth are inlaid with jade, turquoise, and even tiny mirrors that catch the light with every word she speaks. This isn't just decorative, it's a sign of her noble status and spiritual power. The process of inlaying teeth requires drilling holes in perfectly healthy teeth and setting precious stones into the enamel, a procedure that's both painful and risky. But the Maya believe that jade connects them to the divine, and having jade teeth literally makes you a living embodiment of the gods. But the most striking aspect of Mayan beauty culture is cranial modification. You notice that your hostess's skull has been dramatically elongated, creating a cone-shaped head that rises high above her forehead. This isn't the result of an accident. It's the deliberate outcome of binding her head between wooden boards as an infant, gradually reshaping her skull as it grew. The Maya consider this elongated head shape to be the ultimate mark of beauty and nobility, reminiscent of their corn gods' divine proportions. The Maya also practiced deliberate eye crossing, believing that crossed eyes are a sign of divine favor and incredible beauty. Parents dangle small beads in front of their babies' eyes to encourage them to focus inward, creating a permanent cross-eyed condition that's considered highly attractive. Your hostess's crossed eyes are therefore a badge of honor, indicating that her parents loved her enough to ensure she would be considered beautiful by Mayan standards throughout her life. Body scarification is another crucial element of Mayan beauty culture. You observe the elaborate raised scars that cover your hostess's arms and torso, created by carefully cutting the skin and then irritating the wounds to create raised, decorative patterns. These aren't random designs, they're symbols of her family lineage, social status, and spiritual achievements. The most elaborate scarification is reserved for the nobility, with some patterns requiring years to complete as new elements are added to mark important life events. The Mayan approach to ear modification goes far beyond simple piercing. Your hostess wears enormous jade ear flares that have stretched her earlobes to dramatic proportions. The holes in her ears are large enough to insert cylinders the size of small cups, and the jade ornaments she wears are so heavy they require the support of elaborate headbands. The larger the ear ornaments, the higher the social status, with some Mayan nobles wearing ear flares so large they have to turn sideways to walk through doorways. Nose modification is equally important in Mayan beauty culture. Your hostess has a jade bead permanently inserted through her nasal septum, creating a distinctive profile that's considered highly attractive. Some Maya also modify their noses by inserting larger ornaments or even reshaping the cartilage itself. The nose ornaments aren't just decorative, they're believed to enhance spiritual perception and connect the wearer to the divine realm. The Maya have developed an incredibly sophisticated understanding of color symbolism in their beauty practices. Red ochre is used to paint the body for ceremonies, while blue made from precious Maya blue pigment is reserved for the most sacred occasions. Your hostess's skin is painted with intricate patterns in red, blue, and white, each color carrying specific meanings related to the cardinal directions, seasonal cycles, and spiritual states. Mayan hairstyling is equally elaborate, with both men and women growing their hair long and styling it into complex arrangements that incorporate feathers, jade ornaments, and even small mirrors. The most prestigious hairstyles include the feathers of exotic birds like quetzals, whose brilliant green plumage is considered sacred. Some Mayan nobles have hairstyles so elaborate they require special servants, whose only job is maintaining their master's or mistress's coiffure. The Maya also practice lip and tongue modification for beauty purposes. Some individuals have their lips pierced and stretched to accommodate large jade ornaments, while others undergo tongue piercing as part of their spiritual and aesthetic practices. Historians still argue whether these modifications were primarily aesthetic or religious, but the surviving art suggests that the Maya made no distinction between beauty and spirituality. You notice that Mayan beauty standards emphasize the integration of human form with natural elements. Jade is particularly important because the Maya believe it represents the color of water and growing plants, the essence of life itself. Wearing jade isn't just about displaying wealth. It's about literally incorporating the life force of nature into your body, making yourself more beautiful by becoming more connected to the natural world. You step from the vibrant jade world of the Maya into the shadowy, candlelit chambers of medieval Europe, where beauty has become a deadly pursuit of ghostly paleness. The stone walls around you weep with moisture, while the air fills with the acrid smoke of burning herbs and the whispered prayers of women, literally poisoning themselves for fashion. You're about to witness a beauty culture so obsessed with pale skin that it's turned arsenic into a cosmetic and considers a high fever a small price to pay for the perfect complexion. Your medieval European hostess sits before a small, polished metal mirror that barely reflects her face in the dim light. She's applying a mixture of white lead, chalk, and arsenic to her skin, a concoction that would send modern poison control centers into panic mode. But this isn't ignorance. It's the height of fashion in a culture that considers sun-kissed skin a sign of peasant labor and deathly pallor a mark of aristocratic refinement. The whiter the skin, the more obvious it becomes that she's wealthy enough to never work outdoors. The medieval pursuit of pale skin has reached truly dangerous extremes. Your hostess regularly bleeds herself to achieve that perfect anemic look, using leeches and primitive bloodletting tools drain away the healthy pink color that might suggest she's actually robust. Some medieval women even drink vinegar and avoid all nutritious foods to maintain their ethereal, almost ghostly appearance. The goal is to look as close to death as possible without actually dying, though the line between the two is becoming increasingly blurred. Medieval European beauty standards also demand an incredibly high forehead, which your hostess achieves by plucking her hairline back several inches. She's also removed her eyebrows entirely, creating a smooth, egg-like expanse of forehead that's considered the ultimate sign of intelligence and refinement. The process is painful and constant, as she must pluck new growth every few days to maintain the perfect bald brow line. Some women take this even further, removing all their body hair to achieve a prepubescent appearance that's somehow considered the height of feminine beauty. The medieval obsession with thinness goes beyond what we might consider healthy. Your hostess practices extreme fasting, not just for religious reasons, but because emaciation is fashionable. The ideal medieval woman looks like she's wasting away from a romantic ailment, with visible ribs and hollow cheeks that suggest she's too refined to have a healthy appetite. Eating heartily is considered vulgar and peasant-like, so aristocratic women often suffer from serious malnutrition in pursuit of fashionable frailty. But here's where medieval beauty gets truly bizarre. They're using urine as a skincare treatment. Your hostess regularly washes her face with her own urine, believing it will maintain her pale complexion and prevent aging. This isn't just her personal quirk. It's a widespread practice recommended by medieval physicians who have somehow convinced themselves that urine has cosmetic properties. The smell is apparently a small price to pay for beautiful skin. Medieval dental care is equally alarming. Your hostess shows you a collection of tooth whitening powders made from ground bones, charcoal, and various herbs. She's also filed several of her teeth into points, following a fashion trend that's somehow become popular among the nobility. Some medieval women even have their teeth artificially blackened with various preparations, believing that black teeth are more elegant than white ones. Historians still argue whether this was fashion or an attempt to hide the effects of poor dental hygiene. The medieval approach to hair is equally extreme. Your hostess wears a complex headdress that completely covers her hair, which is actually mostly gone anyway from years of plucking and bleaching. Medieval women often shave their heads entirely, then wear elaborate wigs and headdresses that tower several feet above their scalp. The most fashionable headdresses are so tall and complex that they require architectural planning to construct, with wire frameworks and padding that would make modern hat designers weep with envy. Medieval perfume is designed to mask the effects of limited bathing, but it's so strong it could knock a modern person unconscious. Your hostess applies various scented oils and powders that are intended to create a cloud of fragrance around her wherever she goes. Some of these perfumes are so potent they're said to be detectable from several rooms away, which is apparently the goal rather than an embarrassing accident. You notice that medieval beauty ideals are heavily influenced by religious symbolism. The pale skin represents spiritual purity, while the thin body suggests religious devotion and fasting. The covered hair indicates modesty and virtue, while the high forehead suggests intelligence and noble birth. Every aspect of medieval beauty is designed to communicate moral and spiritual superiority, making appearance a form of religious display. The medieval diet for beauty is particularly concerning. Your hostess follows a regimen that includes eating clay to achieve internal paleness, consuming various herbs that are supposed to lighten skin from within, and avoiding most nutritious foods that might give her a healthy glow. Some medieval women even ingest small amounts of arsenic regularly, believing it will make their skin more luminous. The line between beauty treatment and slow suicide has become increasingly blurred in medieval European culture. You glide from the stone chambers of medieval Europe into the paper-screened world of traditional Japan, where beauty has become a carefully choreographed performance art that transforms ordinary women into living dolls. The tatami mats beneath your feet whisper with the rustle of silk kimonos, while the air fills with the scent of rice powder and the soft click of wooden shoes on polished floors. You're about to witness a beauty culture so refined and codified that it takes years to master even the most basic techniques. Your Japanese hostess kneels before you in the process of applying her signature white face makeup. A transformation so completed erases her natural features and replaces them with an idealized mask of porcelain perfection. The white paste she's smoothing across her face is made from rice powder, powdered minerals, and various binding agents that create an almost ceramic finish. But this isn't just makeup. It's a complete identity transformation that turns her into a living work of art. The process begins with a base of oil applied to the skin, followed by multiple layers of white powder mixed with water to create a paste. Your hostess applies this mixture with damp sponges, working in careful, even strokes to create a flawless white surface. The coverage is so complete that it extends down her neck and across her chest, creating the illusion that she's made of porcelain rather than flesh. Any hint of natural skin tone would be considered a flaw in this aesthetic system. But here's where Japanese beauty gets fascinatingly specific. She deliberately leaves small areas of natural skin showing at the nape of her neck, creating what are called beauty spots that are considered incredibly erotic. These tiny glimpses of natural skin are more tantalizing than complete nudity in Japanese aesthetic culture, proving that sometimes the most powerful beauty techniques involve what you don't show rather than what you do. The eye makeup is equally precise, with your hostess using red and black pigments to create a dramatically different eye shape than her natural features. The red is applied to the inner corners of her eyes and along the lower lash line, creating an illusion of larger, more dramatic eyes. The black liner extends the natural eye shape, creating an exotic, almost supernatural appearance that's designed to be beautiful rather than natural. Now comes the most shocking element of traditional Japanese beauty. She's painting her teeth black. This isn't a mistake or a sign of poor dental hygiene. It's called ohaguro, and it's considered the height of elegance and sophistication. The black paint is made from iron filings mixed with vegetable dyes, creating a lacquer-like coating that's both decorative and protective. In Japanese culture, black teeth are considered more beautiful than white ones, and the practice is so prestigious that it's reserved for married women and the highest-ranking geishas. The lip makeup is equally precise, with your hostess painting her lips in a small, stylized shape that's much smaller than her natural lip line. The lips are painted in bright red using safflower petals, creating a tiny rosebud mouth that's considered the ultimate in feminine beauty. The shape is so specific that there are traditional guidelines for exactly how wide and how full the painted lips should be, with variations indicating different levels of training and sophistication. The hairstyling is perhaps the most complex element of the entire transformation. Your hostess's hair has been arranged in an elaborate style that requires several hours to create and involves multiple hairpieces, ornaments, and architectural supports. The hair is slicked back with various oils and waxes, then built up into a towering structure that's decorated with combs, pins, and seasonal flowers. The most elaborate hairstyles are so complex they can only be slept in by using special wooden pillows that support the neck while keeping the hair arrangement intact. The kimono selection is equally important, with your hostess choosing from dozens of garments that represent different seasons, occasions, and levels of formality. The kimono she selects is a masterpiece of textile art, with hand-painted designs that tell stories and convey cultural meanings. The way she wears it is equally important. The collar must be positioned at exactly the right angle to show the proper amount of neck, and the hem must be arranged to create the most graceful silhouette possible. Historians still argue whether the geisha aesthetic was designed to be erotic or artistic, but what's clear is that it represents one of the most sophisticated beauty cultures in human history. Every element is carefully calculated to create a specific effect. From the way the makeup catches lamplight to the sound the silk makes when she moves. You notice that Japanese beauty standards emphasize the artificial over the natural, creating an aesthetic that's clearly constructed rather than attempting to enhance natural features. This isn't about looking naturally beautiful. It's about becoming a living work of art that exists in a realm beyond ordinary human appearance. The geisha represents the ultimate refinement of this aesthetic, turning the human form into a canvas for cultural expression. You step from the porcelain perfection of Japan into the spice-scented world of ancient India, where beauty practices interweave with spiritual philosophy and medical science in ways that would fascinate modern holistic practitioners. The air around you shimmers with turmeric dust and rose petals, while the sound of grinding herbs mingles with Sanskrit prayers and the gentle splash of sacred bathing rituals. You're about to discover a beauty culture that treats external appearance as inseparable from internal health and spiritual development. Your Indian hostess sits before you in a garden courtyard, grinding fresh turmeric root into a bright yellow paste that will become the foundation of her daily beauty ritual. But this isn't just skincare, it's medicine, spiritual practice, and beauty treatment, all rolled into one golden mixture. According to Ayurvedic principles, true beauty radiates from within, and the turmeric she's preparing is believed to purify both her skin and her spiritual energy. The Ayurvedic approach to beauty is based on balancing the three doshas, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, which govern different aspects of physical and mental health. Your hostess explains that her beauty routine is specifically designed for a particular dosha combination, using ingredients that not only make her more attractive, but also bring her entire system into harmony. This personalized approach means that no two women follow exactly the same beauty regimen, because each person's constitution requires different treatments. She begins her daily ritual by applying the turmeric paste to her face, creating a golden mask that makes her look like a living statue. The turmeric is mixed with milk, honey, and rosewater, creating a paste that's both nourishing and antiseptic. As the mixture dries, it tightens her skin while the active compounds work to reduce inflammation and kill bacteria. The result is skin that glows with health rather than just reflecting light from cosmetic products. But here's where Indian beauty gets truly sophisticated. She's also preparing internal treatments that work from the inside out. Your hostess shows you various herbal preparations that she consumes daily to enhance her beauty. Ashwagandha for stress reduction, amla for vitamin C, and shatavari for hormonal balance. The Indian philosophy holds that external beauty is impossible without internal health. So her beauty routine includes dietary changes, herbal supplements, and even meditation practices. The hair care rituals are equally elaborate and scientifically sophisticated. Your hostess massages her scalp with warm coconut oil infused with curry leaves, fenugreek, and hibiscus flowers. This isn't just conditioning, it's a therapeutic treatment designed to stimulate hair growth, prevent premature graying, and maintain scalp health. She explains that in Indian culture, a woman's hair is considered her crowning glory, and the elaborate oil treatments ensure that her hair remains thick, lustrous, and healthy throughout her life. The eye care practices would impress modern ophthalmologists. Your hostess applies Kajal kohl to her eyes, but this isn't just for beauty. It's also believed to protect against eye infections and improve vision. The Kajal is made from lamp soot, ghee, and various medicinal herbs, creating a preparation that's both cosmetic and therapeutic. She also practices daily eye exercises and applies rose water to keep her eyes bright and clear. Indian henna art represents one of the most sophisticated temporary body decoration systems ever developed. You watch as your hostess applies intricate henna patterns to her hands and feet, creating designs that are both beautiful and meaningful. Each pattern tells a story or conveys blessings, and the henna itself is believed to have cooling and medicinal properties. The most elaborate henna designs take hours to apply and can last for weeks, serving as both decoration and spiritual protection. The Indian approach to skin tone is refreshingly different from many other cultures. Rather than trying to dramatically lighten or darken their skin, Indian beauty practices focus on achieving healthy, radiant skin regardless of natural color. The emphasis is on evenness, clarity, and luminosity rather than conforming to a single ideal shade. Various natural ingredients like sandalwood, rose petals, and milk are used to enhance the skin's natural glow without fundamentally altering its color. Historians still argue whether Ayurvedic beauty practices were originally developed for health or aesthetics, but the surviving texts suggest that ancient Indians made no distinction between the two. Beauty was considered a natural result of good health, and any beauty practice that didn't also improve health was considered worthless or even harmful. You notice that Indian beauty rituals are deeply connected to seasonal cycles and lunar phases. Your hostess explains that she adjusts her beauty routine based on the time of year, the weather, and even the phase of the moon. During monsoon season, she uses different herbs and oils than during the dry season, and her full moon beauty rituals are different from her new moon practices. This connection to natural cycles reflects the Indian understanding that human beauty is part of the larger cosmic order. The fragrance practices are equally sophisticated, with your hostess creating personalized perfume blends based on her dosha type and emotional needs. She combines essential oils from jasmine, rose, sandalwood, and various exotic flowers to create a signature scent that's unique to her constitution. These aren't just pleasant fragrances. They're aromatherapy treatments designed to balance her energy and enhance her natural attractiveness. You drift from the herb-scented courtyards of India into the rose-perfumed gardens of ancient Persia, where beauty has become an art form inspired by poetry, mathematics, and the pursuit of earthly paradise. The air around you carries the intoxicating scent of damask roses and jasmine, while the sound of fountain water mingles with the soft rustle of silk and the gentle scraping of precious stones being ground into cosmetic powders. You're about to enter a culture that treats beauty as a reflection of divine creation and considers ugly anything that doesn't mirror the perfect harmony of a Persian garden. Your Persian hostess reclines on silk cushions in a garden pavilion, surrounded by roses in every shade from deep crimson to pale pink. She's preparing her daily beauty ritual with rosewater that's been distilled using techniques so sophisticated they won't be improved upon for centuries. The roses used for her cosmetics aren't ordinary flowers. They're specially cultivated varieties that produce the most fragrant and therapeutically valuable oils, grown in gardens that are themselves works of art designed to inspire beauty in all who enter them. The Persian approach to beauty is based on the concept of harmony and balance, derived from their understanding of garden design and poetic meter. Your hostess explains that just as a perfect garden requires the right proportions of water, flowers, and shade, A beautiful face requires the right balance of features, colors, and expressions. This mathematical approach to beauty means that Persian cosmetics are applied with the same precision that architects use to design buildings or poets use to craft verses. But here's where Persian beauty gets delightfully distinctive. They consider unibrows not just acceptable, but absolutely essential for true beauty. Your hostess carefully darkens the hair between her eyebrows with a mixture of antimony and plant dyes, creating a single, dramatic brow that frames her eyes like a work of calligraphy. In Persian culture, the unibrow is considered a sign of good fortune and intelligence, and women without naturally connected brows use various techniques to create the appearance of this desirable feature. The Persian obsession with roses extends far beyond simple fragrance. Your hostess shows you rose petals that have been dried and ground into powder for face masks, rose oil that's been infused with precious gems for added potency, and even rose-flavored confections that she consumes to make her breath and skin smell like flowers. The Persians believe that true beauty radiates from within, and consuming beautiful things makes you more beautiful yourself. Persian eye makeup is applied with an artistry that would impress modern makeup artists. Your hostess uses kohl made from antimony and precious stones to create dramatic, elongated eye shapes that emphasize the natural almond shape of Persian eyes. The application technique involves extending the natural eye line, both inward toward the nose and outward toward the temples, creating an exotic, almost mystical appearance that's designed to be mesmerizing rather than simply pretty. The Persian approach to hair care involves techniques that combine practical maintenance with aesthetic enhancement. Your hostess massages her scalp with oils infused with crushed pearls, believing that the luminosity of pearls will transfer to her hair and make it more lustrous. She also uses henna not just for color, but as a conditioning treatment, creating intricate patterns on her scalp that won't be visible once her hair grows, but are believed to influence the health and beauty of new growth. Persian perfumery represents one of the most sophisticated fragrance cultures in human history. Your hostess creates complex scent blends that tell stories and evoke specific emotions, using ingredients imported from across the known world. Her personal perfume combines rose with oud, amber, and musk, creating a fragrance that changes throughout the day as different notes emerge and fade. The most prestigious Persian perfumes are so complex they contain dozens of ingredients and take months to properly age and develop. The Persian emphasis on symmetry extends to body decoration as well. Your hostess shows you intricate henna patterns that are designed using geometric principles derived from Islamic art and architecture. These patterns aren't just decorative, they're believed to have protective and beautifying properties, with specific designs used for different occasions and purposes. The most elaborate patterns can take an entire day to apply and are considered temporary masterpieces. Historians still argue whether Persian beauty standards were influenced more by pre-Islamic traditions or by later Islamic aesthetics. But what's clear is that Persian culture developed a uniquely sophisticated approach to beauty that influenced practices from Spain to India. The Persian emphasis on gardens, poetry, and mathematical harmony created beauty standards that were both sensual and intellectual, appealing to the mind as well as the senses. You notice that Persian beauty practices are deeply connected to literature and poetry. Many of the beauty techniques your hostess demonstrates are described in famous Persian poems, and the application of cosmetics follows rhythms and patterns that mirror poetic meter. Beauty isn't just about looking good, it's about embodying the aesthetic principles that govern Persian art, literature, and philosophy. The Persian approach to color is equally sophisticated, with your hostess using pigments and dyes that create subtle gradations rather than bold contrasts. The goal is to enhance natural coloring rather than dramatically alter it, creating an overall effect that's harmonious and balanced. Even the brightest colors are applied in thin layers that build up gradually, creating depth and complexity rather than simple impact. You sail from the rose gardens of Persia into the mist-shrouded fjords of Scandinavia, where the clash of weapons mingles with the unexpected sounds of combs being drawn through carefully braided hair and the gentle scraping of razors against warrior jawlines. You're about to discover that the fearsome Vikings, those legendary raiders who struck terror into the hearts of medieval Europe, were actually some of history's most meticulous groomers, with beauty standards that would make modern men's fashion magazines look conservative. Your Viking host stands before you, and your first impression completely contradicts everything you thought you knew about these legendary warriors. His blonde hair is intricately braided with silver wire and small charms. His beard is carefully trimmed and decorated with beads, and his fingernails are so meticulously manicured they could rival any modern spa treatment. The Vikings, it turns out, were absolutely obsessed with personal hygiene and appearance, considering grooming just as important as weapon maintenance for a successful warrior. The Viking approach to hair care is extraordinarily sophisticated for a culture we often imagine as crude and barbaric. Your host explains that he washes his hair twice a week with lye soap made from wood ash and animal fat, then rinses it with various herbal preparations that keep it lustrous and healthy. His blonde hair isn't entirely natural. He regularly bleaches it with a mixture of lye and other chemicals to achieve that coveted golden color that Vikings associate with the gods. The darker his natural hair, the more effort he puts into lightening it to that divine blonde shade. But here's where Viking grooming gets truly surprising. They're using makeup. Your Viking warrior applies kohl around his eyes, not for spiritual reasons like the Egyptians, but because he believes it makes him look more fierce and attractive in battle. Some Vikings even use rouge on their cheeks and lips, creating a look that would challenge modern assumptions about masculine beauty standards. The goal isn't to look feminine, it's to look supernatural, like the gods and heroes of their mythology. The Viking obsession with cleanliness extends to elaborate bathing rituals that put medieval European hygiene to shame. Your host shows you his collection of bathing implements, bronze razors, bone combs, ear spoons for cleaning ears, and even primitive tweezers for removing unwanted hair. Vikings bathe at least once a week, which makes them significantly cleaner than most of their European contemporaries. And they consider body odor a serious social flaw that reflects poorly on a warrior's discipline and self-respect. Viking dental care is equally impressive. Your host demonstrates his daily tooth cleaning ritual using frayed twigs and various abrasive powders that keep his teeth remarkably white and healthy. Some Vikings even have decorative dental work, with gold or silver wire wrapped around their teeth purely for aesthetic purposes. The contrast between their fierce reputation and their meticulous oral hygiene is almost comical, but it reflects a culture that values comprehensive self-care. Viking approach to body modification includes practices that would fit right into modern body art culture. Your host shows you his collection of tattoos, created using soot and various plant dyes that are worked into the skin using bone needles. These aren't random decorations. They're carefully planned designs that tell stories, provide spiritual protection, and demonstrate his achievements in battle and exploration. Some Vikings are so covered in tattoos that their natural skin color is barely visible. Viking perfumery might surprise modern nose sensibilities, but it represents a sophisticated understanding of scent psychology. Your host applies various animal-based musks and plant oils that are designed to intimidate enemies while attracting potential mates. The most popular Viking fragrances combine aggressive, territorial scents with more subtle, appealing notes, creating a complex olfactory signature that announces both power and desirability. The Viking emphasis on physical fitness goes beyond mere battle readiness. It's also about aesthetic appeal. Your host maintains his physique through daily training that includes not just combat practice, but also swimming, running, and various strength exercises designed to create the ideal warrior body. Vikings judge each other's attractiveness partly based on physical condition, considering a well-maintained body essential for both battle effectiveness and social status. Historians still argue whether Viking grooming practices were functional adaptations to harsh climates or genuine vanity, but the archaeological evidence suggests that appearance was extremely important to Viking culture. Elaborate grooming tools are found in Viking graves across Scandinavia, and the sagas frequently describe heroes and heroines in terms of their physical beauty and grooming habits. You notice that Viking beauty standards emphasize strength and health rather than delicacy or refinement. The ideal Viking appearance suggests someone who can survive harsh winters, long sea voyages, and brutal battles while still looking attractive enough to win desirable partners. This creates a beauty aesthetic that's both practical and aspirational, combining functional grooming with genuine vanity in ways that reflect Viking values and lifestyle. The Viking approach to jewelry and accessories is equally sophisticated, with your host wearing arm rings, neck torques, and brooches that serve as both decoration and wealth storage. These aren't just pretty baubles, they're portable treasure that can be used for trade, gifts, or emergency funds, while simultaneously announcing his success and status to everyone he encounters. You stride from the groomed fjords of Scandinavia into the feathered splendor of Tenochtitlan, where beauty has become an art form that literally reaches toward the heavens. The air around you shimmers with the iridescent colors of countless exotic bird feathers, while the sound of jade ornaments clicking together mingles with the soft chanting of priests and the careful scraping of obsidian tools shaping precious stones. You're about to witness a civilization that considers beauty inseparable from divine power, where the most magnificent appearances are reserved for those who speak directly with the gods. Your Aztec host stands before you wearing a headdress so elaborate it requires its own structural support. A towering construction of quetzal feathers, gold, and precious stones that adds nearly 2 feet to his height. But this isn't just ostentatious display. It's a carefully coded communication system that tells everyone who sees him exactly where he stands in the complex hierarchy of Aztec society. The green quetzal feathers indicate his noble birth. The gold represents his connection to the sun god, and the jade elements demonstrate his spiritual authority. The Aztec approach to body painting is extraordinarily sophisticated, using pigments that would impress modern artists with their brilliance and permanence. Your host's skin is decorated with intricate patterns in red, blue, yellow, and white, each color carrying specific meanings related to warfare, agriculture, astronomy, and spirituality. The red comes from cochineal insects that the Aztecs cultivate specifically for their dye, while the blue is created from precious minerals that cost more than most people earn in a lifetime. But here's where Aztec beauty becomes truly magnificent. They're using actual gold as body decoration. Your host shows you sheets of beaten gold, so thin they're almost transparent, applied to his skin like temporary tattoos that catch and reflect light with every movement. The Aztecs have mastered goldworking techniques that won't be equaled in Europe for centuries, creating decorative elements so delicate they seem to float on the surface of the skin rather than adhering to it. The Aztec obsession with feathers has created an entire industry of professional feather workers who are considered among the most skilled artisans in the empire. Your host's costume incorporates feathers from dozens of different bird species, each chosen for its specific color, texture, and spiritual significance. The most prestigious feathers come from the quetzal bird, whose brilliant green plumage is literally worth more than gold and can only be obtained through complex trade networks that stretch across Central America. Aztec dental modification goes far beyond simple decoration. Your host shows you his teeth, which have been filed into points and inlaid with turquoise, jade, and even tiny mirrors made from polished obsidian. The process requires incredible skill from specialized craftsmen who can work on living teeth without causing infection or excessive pain. Some Aztec nobles have such elaborate dental work that their mouths look like miniature treasure chambers when they smile. The Aztec approach to ear modification rivals anything seen in modern body modification culture. Your host wears enormous ear ornaments made from gold and precious stones, inserted through holes that have been gradually stretched since childhood. The largest ear ornaments are so heavy they require additional support from elaborate headbands, and the holes are so large that specialized servants are employed just to clean and maintain them properly. Aztec perfumery combines practical insect repelling with aesthetic fragrance in ways that reflect their sophisticated understanding of both chemistry and ecology. Your host applies various scented resins and flower essences that not only smell pleasant, but also discourage the insects that can carry diseases in the tropical climate. The most prestigious fragrances incorporate copal resin, which is also used in religious ceremonies, creating a scent that's both personally attractive and spiritually significant. The Aztec emphasis on temporary body decoration allows for constant variation and creativity in personal appearance. Your host shows you various stamps and stencils used to apply repeating patterns to the skin, creating designs that can be changed daily or even multiple times per day for different occasions. This flexibility means that Aztec beauty standards encourage creativity and personal expression rather than conformity to a single ideal. Historians still argue whether Aztec beauty practices were primarily religious or aesthetic in nature, but the surviving evidence suggests that the Aztecs made no meaningful distinction between the two. Looking beautiful was a form of worship, while religious devotion naturally expressed itself through enhanced physical appearance. The most elaborate beauty practices were reserved for religious festivals and state occasions, when humans were expected to appear as magnificent as the gods themselves. You notice that Aztec beauty standards emphasize vertical height and dramatic silhouettes, with many decorative elements designed to make the wearer appear taller and more imposing. This reflects Aztec values that associate height with spiritual power and social authority, creating beauty ideals that literally elevate the individual above their ordinary human limitations. The Aztec approach to color symbolism is incredibly complex, with different combinations of hues conveying specific messages about the wearer's role, achievements, and spiritual status. Your host explains that his particular combination of colors announces his military rank, his priestly duties, and even his place of birth to anyone familiar with the symbolic system. This makes Aztec beauty practices a form of visual communication that's as sophisticated as written language. You step back from the feathered magnificence of the Aztec Empire and find yourself in a space that seems to exist outside of time, surrounded by mirrors that reflect not just your appearance, but the countless beauty rituals you've witnessed throughout this journey. The air shimmers with fragments of all the scents you've encountered: Egyptian kohl, Chinese jade powder, Roman lead paint, and Viking musk, while ghostly figures move through the shadows, eternally pursuing their culture's vision of perfect beauty. As you reflect on this incredible journey through ancient beauty standards, you begin to see the common threads that connect these diverse cultures across thousands of years and thousands of miles. Whether it was the Egyptians grinding gold into face powder or the Vikings bleaching their hair with lye, every civilization you've encountered has been willing to endure pain, expense, and even danger in pursuit of an ideal that transcends mere physical appearance. Beauty, you realize, has always been about transformation, the magical process of becoming more than what nature initially provided. The patterns become clearer as you consider what you've witnessed. Almost every culture has used beauty practices to communicate social status, with the most elaborate and expensive treatments reserved for the wealthy and powerful. The Egyptian gold dust, the Chinese bound feet, the Mayan jade teeth, all of these served as visual announcements of privilege and power. But there's something deeper at work here, something that goes beyond simple social signaling into the realm of spiritual aspiration and cultural identity. You notice how many of these ancient beauty practices were deeply intertwined with religious and spiritual beliefs. The Egyptians genuinely believed that their cosmetics connected them to the gods, while the Maya considered their body modifications forms of divine worship. Even the seemingly secular Roman beauty practices were often linked to concepts of virtue and moral character. Beauty wasn't just about looking good. It was about becoming a better person, achieving divine favor, or embodying cultural ideals that transcended physical appearance. The sacrifices these ancient peoples made for beauty would shock modern practitioners. Remember that crocodile dung skincare from Egypt, the lead makeup that slowly poisoned Roman aristocrats, the foot binding that crippled Chinese women for life. These weren't accidents or ignorance. They were conscious choices made by intelligent people who believed that true beauty required genuine sacrifice. The greater the sacrifice, the more beautiful the result, and the more admirable the person who was willing to make it. But perhaps most fascinating is how these ancient beauty standards challenged and redefined the human form itself. The Maya literally reshaped their skulls, the Chinese transformed their feet, and the Vikings covered their skin with intricate tattoos that told the stories of their lives. None of these cultures were content to simply enhance what nature provided. They all sought to transcend natural limitations and create something that was more beautiful, more meaningful, and more spiritually significant than ordinary human appearance. Historians still debate whether these extreme beauty practices represented liberation or oppression. But what's undeniable is the incredible creativity and technical skill they required. The Egyptian cosmetic industry, the Chinese silk production, the Aztec featherworking, all of these represent technological and artistic achievements that rival anything we've accomplished in modern times. These ancient peoples weren't primitive or naive. They were sophisticated artists and engineers who happened to use the human body as their primary canvas. As you consider the legacy of these ancient beauty practices, you can see their influence everywhere in modern culture. The Egyptian eye makeup that inspired contemporary cosmetics, the Greek mathematical proportions that still guide plastic surgeons, the Indian Ayurvedic principles that underlie modern holistic beauty treatments, we're still pursuing many of the same ideals that motivated ancient peoples, just with different tools and techniques. The more things change, the more they stay the same, and beauty remains one of humanity's most persistent obsessions. We may have traded lead makeup for safer alternatives and abandoned foot binding for more humane practices, but we're still spending enormous amounts of time, money, and energy pursuing ideals of physical perfection that often have little to do with health or practicality. The ancient Egyptians would probably recognize our modern beauty industry as a familiar continuation of their own obsessions, just with better safety regulations. But there's something deeply moving about these ancient beauty practices that goes beyond simple vanity or social display. They represent humanity's eternal refusal to accept limitations, our constant drive to become something more than what we are. Whether it was the Persian woman grinding pearls into her hair oil, or the Viking warrior braiding silver into his beard, each of these individuals was participating in the fundamentally human act of transformation, the magical process of becoming beautiful through will and effort and creativity. As your journey through ancient beauty standards draws to close, you find yourself surrounded by the gentle sounds of settling dust and fading echoes. The mirrors around you begin to dim, reflecting not the dramatic transformations you've witnessed, but the quiet, eternal human desire to be beautiful, to be worthy of admiration, to transcend the ordinary limitations of flesh and become something more luminous and meaningful. The ancient voices grow softer now, their beauty rituals fading into whispered memories of coal and jade, feathers and gold, roses and pearls. You've seen the lengths to which humans will go in pursuit of beauty, the sacrifices they'll make, the pain they'll endure, and the creativity they'll unleash in service of an ideal that exists somewhere between earth and heaven, between the human and the divine. Rest now, knowing that beauty has always been humanity's way of reaching towards something greater than ourselves, whether that something was divine favor, social status, or simply the satisfaction of becoming the most magnificent version of ourselves possible. The ancient mirrors fade to black, the exotic scents dissipate into ordinary air, and you drift peacefully into sleep, perhaps dreaming of jade teeth and golden skin, of unibrows and blackened teeth, of all the countless ways humans have chosen to be beautiful across the centuries, and how that eternal quest for transformation and transcendence continues even now, even in your dreams.